Hi there, I'm Jeff with Clearwater Plumbers.
I'm Brian with Clearwater Plumbers.
So we're talking about the 8 things every homeowner should know about water, their drinking water, and we're up to hardness now. So Brian, hardness. Now we're not talking about my body. We're talking about water.
In water, hardness is defined, basically it's caused by two minerals, calcium and magnesium. That is what creates, those are the hard minerals, if you will, in our region. And simply put.
So why is hardness there? Why do we have hardness?
Water molecules in nature are very polar, they're very magnetic, and water picks up ions as it sifts through rocks and everything else. And with the limestone deposits that we have here, it's going to be pulling hard minerals out, being the calcium and magnesium. And that's essentially what makes our water hard.
They say water's, one of it breaks things down, it dissolves stuff. That's its job. It's
the most destructive force in nature, and so when it's going down through these rocks and down through the earth, it's taking stuff with it every time it goes.
Okay, and what does so why is it there? What does it do? So for a homeowner, what does the hardness do for them, or what are the disadvantages of the hardness?
So there's quite a few disadvantages of the hardness.
Of the calcium and the magnesium
Exactly.
in the water.
So the first and foremost, over time you will see it basically clog up screens on faucets. You'll see it cake up in areas. And the big problem with calcium and magnesium is that these are hard etching minerals. And so it doesn't just stick to the surface, mainly non-ferrous metals such as your faucets, but it actually scours as well. It's going to scratch those finishes over time. It's going to dull them. It's hard on clothing as well. It's hard on dishes. You've seen the water spots on coffee mugs and such when you take them out of a dishwasher from hardness. And you've got to think too, over time, those water spots, those will actually etch those glasses. You will lose the sheen on them. The biggest place being though on our own bodies, when you take a shower. Everybody gets out of the shower after having a hard water shower, and they run their hand down their arms, and the hand kind of sticks, and they call that squeaky clean. Well, hard water inhibits the sudding of soap. So soap can't really do its full job. You have to use a lot more shampoo, a lot more soap to get clean, and the result, that stickiness on your arm, is actually mineral deposits of calcium, magnesium, and soap curd still on your skin.
Right.
In the wintertime, a lot of people complain about eczema and things like that. That is caused by all this stuff that's left over on your skin from a hard water shower.
So some people will say, and this is interesting because I just now got a softener at my house, and we love it. But they notice right off the bat it makes their skin feel wet. Soft water makes their skin feel
kind of slimy, almost oily whenever
slippery.
It's wet.
Yeah.
Very slippery. And so what a lot of people think, they will sit in the shower and scrub and scrub and scrub, saying the soap is not off of me. In all reality, that's soft water and your natural skin oils. That's your skin actually clean.
So what I noticed is I kind of had to change. We had to change the way we used shampoo and conditioner because we didn't need as much of it. And what I noticed is when we changed from City of Fort Worth, normally 7 to 9 parts per million or grains per gallon, was you get done shampooing your hair and it feels like it's already conditioned. So and then whenever you're done showering, you don't need oil. I don't use any lotion. My wife doesn't use any lotion anymore because you no longer need it because you've got the natural oils in your hair, in your skin. Right. It's really pretty amazing to me how much, and it's almost like I think it's similar to working with concrete or something like that. At the end of the day, if you work with concrete or you're working in the dirt, your rings almost want to slip off your finger because the moisture is getting pulled out of your hands. But using the soft water, your body doesn't dry out. It doesn't leave that residue that causes your skin and hair to dry out.
Right.
So another one in hardness versus tell me about hardness and water heating, for instance.
Well, so if you're looking at, say, like an electric water heater, a tank water heater, what you have in there are a couple of elements that heat up due to electricity, and if you have hard water going into that tank, essentially what can happen is those deposits will stick to those elements, and over time that etching just wears down those elements, and you can actually end up having to replace elements on a water heater, or flat out replace a water heater as quickly as, say, 2 to 3 years, depending on how hard the water is. With a soft water system, you're not going to get that scaling effect, and you won't have to flush that water heater nearly as often.
And on some of the elements, doesn't the hardness build up and insulate around it, so it reduces the efficiency?
Definitely.
The heat transfer from the elements.
It can take a lot longer to heat a water heater over time. And over time, somebody might have, say, a water heater that's 5 years old on a hard water system, and we'll get calls saying that it doesn't heat as quickly. It now takes 2 hours to get the water as hot, and the hot water just doesn't feel as hot as it once did.
And I think on our map we were looking at before, there's an EPA, and you can Google this, but EPA, U.S. Geological Society does a report on hardness, and it says, I think anything over 6 is considered hard. Again, in Fort Worth, we're running about 7 to 9.
Right. Well, I think anything above 3 is moderately hard. So we really start getting into that hard factor at a rather low number. But 6 is definitely, I would definitely consider that hard.
And even in some parts of our service area, I think it gets up to, I know one that I think we've heard of 40 parts grains per gallon, right?
Right. Normally speaking, on a well system, you'll be sitting around 20 to 30. We do have those exceptions of very soft wells. Again, very few and far between. Buy a lottery ticket if you get a house with one. But then also we do have the unlucky customers that have wells with upwards of 40 grains per gallon. That is incredibly hard. Without any type of treatment, that will desecrate pipes and ruin faucets and everything else.
Right.
Within a year.
And another thing on the water, which is kind of amazing to me, that I, plumber this long, and it took me this long to figure it out, right? But we have a butter dish at the home that once we installed the water softener at our house, I never realized how good this butter dish looked. It always had these deposits and stuff on it. I put it in the dishwasher. Butter dishes are nasty. They're full of butter. They're slimy. But you pull it out of there, and it looks like a piece of crystal. It's a freaking $2 butter dish, right? But I never, ever, ever realized how clean and spotless things came out of the dishwasher until this butter dish. I pulled it out and I was like, holy moly, this thing is so clean. Not the least bit cloudy, just a crystal clear $2 butter dish.
Look at when you go to a car wash even.
Yeah.
If the car washers were to use hard water to wash your car, every car owner would be going back to complain about all the water spots on their cars. When you wash your car at home on a hard water system, you have to buff it all out very quickly there afterwards and dry it off so those deposits don't stick to your car.
Get the spots off of it.
You've got to get the spots off.
So I guess bottom line is sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you get it fixed. But if you went to somebody's house and they had hard water, obviously we can test it for them. You can educate them on it and tell them the best suggestion. But can you tell me, how do we treat that? How would you suggest treating it if it was your house with hard water?
The best way to treat hard water is going to be with a softener, or what they refer to as an ionic exchanger. And so what we're going to use is a salted system to basically remove the calcium and magnesium and put a very minute level of sodium back into the water to take the place of those ions. Unfortunately, we can't take ions away without replacing them with something else.
So do you have an example here?
A 1.5 cubic foot softener, and with an electronic head and a metering system. So what this is going to do is basically take out that calcium and magnesium in the water as it passes through. And so this will protect the whole house from that hard water, as well as, clothing, dishes, even your skin and hair.
Got it. So this is electronic head. You pipe this into the city or the well water.
Right.
You can make that recommendation on how the pipings change. And
around here, I would say 98% of the houses, be it on well or city water, will benefit from a softener.
Got it. And so one thing I think that's special about us is that being plumbers, at my house, for instance, what had to be done there?
So at your house, the water line had to be relocated. Actually, we had to run a filtration loop around the side of the house to be able to install this thing. There was a lot of trenching that had to be done and repiping even. One of the big things you get with some of these water filtration companies is that they're strictly water filtration specialists. So they don't have the plumbing knowledge and expertise that an actual plumber would have. Now you call a lot of plumbing companies, and what you're going to get are plumbers that have the expertise to run the piping, but they don't have the water filtration expertise. One of the nice things about Clearwater plumbers is that we have guys that are both trained in water filtration, and they're plumbers that are trained in water filtration. So not only can they put in the right filtration, but they can also plumb it correctly.
And if you're running a backwash line to the clean outs, or there's a little bit more to it sometimes,
right,
in a system and
right,
hooking it up the right way. Well, I think that's good. I think hardness is something a lot of people don't get. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, they get it, but they don't get it.
Right. To do what you ought to